everyone, and welcome to Positive by Design. Good people talking about real shit and easy to implement success methods. Hosted by Social Jane Media, brought to you by yours truly, Sarah Glenn. I am the creator and CEO of Social Jane Media, a certified social media marketing expert, and the branding specialist that many entrepreneurs turn to. If you're looking for inspiration from other entrepreneurs and high-vibing humans, you're in the right place. So settle in, get comfy, and let's get started. Hello. Oh, okay. This week's podcast episode, welcome on to Positive by Design, you guys. This week's podcast episode, I was thinking about it a little bit, and I heard something recently, and boy, did it really, it's one of those moments where you're like, this could totally trigger me, or I could utilize this as a really fantastic reminder to get my shit together. So this week we're talking about how your social media is essentially a lot like a bank account. If you don't make deposits, if you don't pay attention to it, right, it's not going to do anything. Like, money doesn't just end up in your bank account. It has to be deposited there, right? And those deposits come from you making efforts to make the money. Well, your social media platforms are very, very similar. If you are expecting to make sales, you got to show up. If you are expecting to connect with people and start new conversations, you got to show up. So your showing up on social media is just like making a deposit into your bank account. If you don't do it, it doesn't happen. And I come across this so frequently when I'm having conversations with women that are building businesses online. They allow themselves to get so frustrated by the process of, oh my gosh, I have to show up every single day with fresh new ideas. I feel so overwhelmed. Hashtag social media is overwhelming. You guys, it does not have to be overwhelming. Overwhelm is a choice. Let's just be clear about that. In any part of your life, overwhelm is a choice. Like I said in the beginning, some of this might trigger you and you might be like, who's this? B-I-T-C-H. I don't know why I spelled it out. I cuss all the time. Who's this bitch who's telling me that my overwhelm is a choice that I'm making? I'm sorry to say, but it absolutely is. And you're not alone. Like, zero judgment. Because I find myself in moments of overwhelm every so often, and I have to remind myself, okay, Sarah, this is a choice you're making. You are choosing to fuel the fire of overwhelm. Instead, pick up a tool and put the fire out, right? So when it comes to being consistent on your social media, utilizing social media to build a business online, overwhelm is a choice. And if you expect it to grow and you expect it to make you money, you have to make deposits. You have to show up, right? It's not a one-sided game. So let's talk a little bit about how social media can be overwhelming, right? What are the different ways? I'm sure you're already thinking in your head, like, there are so many reasons it's overwhelming. I have to post every day. Okay, well, let's debunk that just a little bit. I am actually not of the mindset that you have to post every single day, meaning 7 days a week. I am of the mindset, post based on your life. Post based on what you will do consistently. So if posting 7 days a week, you know for a fact, does not fit into your life, then stop trying to do it, because you're creating overwhelm. You're creating a sense of guilt when you don't do it. So instead, give yourself a goal that you know you can stick to. Like, Maybe it's 3 days out of the week. Maybe it's 4 days. Maybe it's 5 days. Me personally, I post 5 days out of the week, Monday through Friday. I choose to do that. Now, if I post on a Saturday or a Sunday, it's a one-off. It's like, yeah, I just felt like it. Maybe I was out doing something. But I have allowed myself and given myself that permission to say, you know what, I'm going to unplug from my socials 2 days out of the week because I know that my energy needs a break. Otherwise, I am in overwhelm. So you see how overwhelm is a choice? The way I am choosing to not be overwhelmed is by setting boundaries for myself and then sticking to the goals that are within those boundaries and staying consistent. So, all right, what's some other ways that social media can be overwhelming? Content. Am I right? Content. Oh my God, I don't have all the ideas. I'm not creative enough. I don't have good ideas. I have nothing to talk about. Nothing exciting happens in my life. On and on and on. Are these stories that you're telling yourself? Are these things that you find yourself saying? Y'all, I was there. Like, not that long ago, I was there. But what did I do? I chose not to be overwhelmed by that thought that I was having, and I chose to seek a solution. So, what solution did I find? Well, it comes with trial and error. Let's be real. You're going to suck at some stuff like for a while until you figure it out, but you're never going to get to the I figured it out moment if you don't just take action. So I'll give you a quick rundown of how I got to the other side of social media content overwhelm. Okay. And now I'm in a place where I am making daily deposits into my social media bank account and getting return via new conversations, new client contacts, new clients, right? Sales, all of the things. So, how did I get on the other side of the social media content overwhelm? Well, first off, I decided that I was only going to post 5 days out of the week, not 7. Secondly, I decided, okay, I know that I want to do a weekly show. I know I want to do a weekly show, a weekly training, right? Of some kind. I want to show up consistently and provide really massive value and become a resource for my audience. So, how do I do this? How do I do this without feeling overwhelmed? So, I want to say this was about March, April, probably. So, at the time of this recording is October. So, it's been a couple months, right? And it has evolved since then. But it was about April or March that I had this like light bulb moment where I was in the midst of getting more confident and consistent with my email marketing. I was kind of still living in that sense of overwhelm when it came to creating content. And I also knew that I wanted to do a weekly show, weekly training, right? Whatever you want to call it. So I had these 3 ideas of like, okay, these could be 3 problems that could make me feel full of anxiety and stress and overwhelm, or these could be 3 opportunities. Let me think about this. Let me give myself permission to play around a little bit. How can I solve this problem? Right? And then it hit me. Why do I need a new piece of content every day of the week? You don't. We think we do because we know how social media operates, where it's like this instant gratification. You know, if it's not super exciting within the first 3 seconds, you're gone. Like somebody's moved on to something else. We know this about social media, so it's almost like this strangely conditioned belief that if we don't put out a new piece of content every single time we show up on social, that people are going to get so super bored. Let me just tell you, people don't see all the shit that you post. You have the power to repurpose your content. I decided that I was going to repurpose my content the moment that I had this thought, like back in March, April. Honestly, I don't remember. I've been traveling so much this year, but I know I wasn't at home. I was in Florida for a couple weeks with my husband. And so I was like living and working out of a hotel room. And I had this light bulb moment where it was like, holy shit, I could, if I just had one good idea a week, I could have up to 3 pieces of content or more, right? Because it could be repurposed into a lot of other different ways, but I don't want to I don't want to inundate you guys with that. So I had this idea, right? I could have one good idea a week. I mean, come on, you can have one good idea a week, right? Or you could hear one good thing a week. You could listen to one good podcast a week and then turn around and talk about it, right? That one thing could happen to you each week that you create content around. So for me, I decided, all right, well, I'm going to have one good idea a week. I'm going to take that idea, I'm going to make it one of the emails that I send to all of my subscribers to kick the week off and let people know, hey, this is what's happening this week. This is what's coming up for you. So if you see this email and you're into it, pay attention, right? I'm not selling anything. I'm letting people know that there's something coming up for them that they might want to plug into. Then I take that email and I make a post about it. Because guess what? Not everybody that is connected with me on social media is on my email list yet. So, do I feel guilty about using the exact same content when I send the email and when I make that post? No, because the amount of people seeing it, like let's say the same person that gets the email also sees it on my social, it's very unlikely that that even happens. People don't see all of your content all of the time. So this one idea has become one of my weekly emails, has become one of my weekly posts, and also later in the week, it's going to be my weekly show. It's going to be the one day out of the week that I show up and I pour into my community and to my audience, providing some value, being a resource in some form or fashion. Sure, maybe at some point I'm selling something or I'm making some sort of offer because I am building a business and I do have a fantastic service to offer if someone is ready for that. But I'm not always selling something and I'm not showing up with promos and just saying like, buy my shit. No, I decided to have one good idea a week that I knew my audience would resonate with, that I knew that I was confident and comfortable to speak about, even with like little to no preparation. So now this one idea has become my weekly show, one of my weekly emails, and one of my weekly posts. You could take it further and go into other platforms and Pinterest and all the things. But for simplicity's sake, you guys, this one idea is now hitting people in 3 different ways. And let's be real, people learn differently. Some people like to read things. Some people like to hear things. Some people like to see things. Why not show up and meet somebody exactly where they're at? So if you find yourself constantly feeling like you have this social media content overwhelm, I highly encourage you to replicate this model that I'm sharing with you, because this can save your freaking sanity. And it creates really incredible consistency and like cohesion to your messaging. And it allows people to get involved into the conversation, even if they're not on your email list. Right? And of course, you want to be building an email marketing list. Like, if this is the first time you're hearing about email marketing, let me just tell you, it's really fucking important. It's a community of people that have legit raised their hand and said, I want to be in your realm and I want to hear what you have to say. That's an important group of people to be nurturing. Email marketing is vital to building a business online. You don't own your social media platforms. You own your email list. But I won't get off on that tangent. So, social media content overwhelm is a choice. It's a choice because you're allowing all of this noise outside of you to dictate how you show up on social media. You are like nobody else. So stop trying to copy what somebody else is doing. By all means, if you resonate with something, use it as a template to propel you in the direction that you want to go in. So just like what I just shared with you, my strategy for content and what I do on a weekly basis, feel free to use it, please. But it's going to be your own. The topics you talk about are going to be your own. How you show up in that is going to be your own. But I guarantee if you were on my email list, if you were in my group, if you see my weekly stuff, you know, like if you're the 1% that sees all the stuff that I post, you've recognized that I am repurposing my content. I do the exact same thing with these podcast episodes. I am recording this with video and audio. I will extract the audio. It will go into Spotify and Apple. I will stream the video as a show onto YouTube and Facebook because I want to meet you where you're at. Maybe you don't hang out in Spotify and Apple. Maybe you don't listen to podcasts, right? Like maybe you don't, but maybe you watch lives. Visual versus auditory learner, right? Meet people where they're at. Make deposits into your social media bank account, you guys. If you want to make sales, if you want to build recognition, if you want to create brand awareness, you have to show up. You just have to. All right. I really appreciate you guys listening to these podcast episodes. I really hope that you find some value in them. I don't like to go on and on and on and make them super duper long. But I know that these are conversations that need to be had. I know these are conversations that people just need to hear, a reminder every now and then. So let me just be that reminder for you. You fucking got this. Overwhelm is a choice. There is always a tool or a solution that is available to you. There's always a resource of some sort that is available to you. You just have to give yourself the time and the space and the permission to explore it. So I hope you found this super helpful. Before you head into the next episode, please just get yourself into the Social Jane community because that's where you're going to see all of these weekly shows. That's where you're going to be able to connect with other women that are building businesses online. I'm always talking about ways to build brand awareness and make more sales for your business. So I look forward to connecting with you. And of course, anybody who's inside of the Social Jane community, you can all request podcast topics. So anybody inside of our private community can reach out to me directly or post it in the group and let us know what is stuff that you want to hear about. What are topics that you need to be, plugged into? But get yourself into the community so you can ask those questions and you can have that resource and that access. Okay. So until next time, you guys, we'll talk soon. That was so much fun. I hope you found this episode helpful. If you want to get a shout out or maybe even inspire a fellow entrepreneur, go ahead and take a screenshot of yourself listening to this episode and tag us in your stories at Social Jane Media. Positive by Design is brought to you by Sarah Glenn, CEO of Social Jane Media, the branding and business coaching agency that teaches you how to discover your authentic brand, lead with value, and build the business you desire. If you're ready for more, head over to the Social Jane community. Link is in the show notes. I'll see you inside.